Joining us now on the BK Show, he is Bill Rabinowitz, who covers the Ohio State Buckeyes for the Columbus Dispatch, and he's kind enough to give us a couple of minutes on the eve of tomorrow's Cotton Bowl. Bill, thanks so much for the time. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing great. It's weird. I guess you're used to this weather, but being from Austin, not used to seeing snow on the ground right now. It's kind of fitting, I guess, that you guys are bringing the cold weather with you here to North Texas.
It's balmy. I was, thought about going out in shorts today.
Yeah, you're used to this. I put on like 6 layers. I look like Ralphie's brother in Christmas Story earlier today. We are not used to this down here, but excited that the game is finally here. Of course, both fan bases have been talking about this for over a week now, and just over 24 hours away from kickoff at Jerry World tomorrow. I'll start with this one, Bill. I mean, can anybody beat Ohio State the way that they've been playing in this college football playoff?
If they play the way they did against Oregon, no. I mean, I just don't. I would have said maybe at the beginning of the year with the way I thought Georgia was going to be, that Georgia could have, but the way Georgia obviously not even in it now. I mean, I think Texas of the remaining teams is the most capable because they're very good defense, but they also have an explosive offense. I mean, it's inconsistent, but they're capable of being explosive in ways that Notre Dame and Penn State are not.
Yeah, what's been the key for the Buckeyes in this playoff? I mean, everyone saw what they did to Tennessee. Everyone saw what they did to Oregon. I mean, hell, a week before both of those games, there was the inexplicable loss to Michigan. What's been the biggest reason why things have turned the way that they have?
Well, I think first of all they're playing to their identity now and on offense, and that's to get the ball to their playmakers, to not be conservative, to say, okay, we've got a generational wide receiver, Jeremiah Smith, regardless of the fact he's a freshman. You have a great receiver in Emeka Egbuka. You have Carnell Tate. You have Travion Henderson and Quinshon Judkins in the backfield, both as runners and pass catchers. Even the tight ends can contribute that way. And the key really has been the offensive line protecting Will Howard. He hasn't been sacked in 5 games, I think it is. And so that was the big question entering the
Yeah.
playoff because they lost Josh Simmons, the left tackle against Oregon, and they lost Seth McLaughlin to an Achilles tear before the Indiana game. And those are two of their 3 best linemen. And they moved Donovan Jackson, that was a Houston native, moved him to left tackle, and has played quite well there. And the fill-ins at guard have played well. Carson has been fine at center. So the offensive line is held up, and that was the biggest question in terms of kind of the X's and O's for Ohio State entering the playoff. And Will Howard has played very, very well. He's thrown the deep ball very well, which is a bit up and down during the regular season. He's always been good at the short and intermediate stuff. He's avoided the turnovers. Against Penn State, he had a pick 6, and he had a fumble at the goal line. Against Michigan, he threw 2 horrible interceptions, and he's avoided that. And if Ohio State doesn't make mistakes and shoot themselves in the foot, they're pretty unstoppable.
Yeah, Bill, you've covered the Buckeyes for a long time. You've seen a lot of great receivers, including Garrett Wilson, who's from our own backyard. But what
Right.
separates Jeremiah Smith? What makes this guy
Boy.
so unguardable?
Yeah, I mean, to think that they could lose Marvin Harrison Jr. and not skip a beat, it's
Yeah.
amazing. He's everything. I mean, he's big, he's strong, he's fast, he runs good routes, he's got great hands, he's got great body control, he's got a great competitive spirit. And by all accounts, he's a very humble young man, not full of himself. He's the whole package. And to think that he's, I think, 19 years old is kind of scary. It also helps him, just like helps Emeka Egbuka, that they feed off each other. And it's not like you say, okay, I'll double team Jeremiah Smith because, okay, Egbuka will beat you, or Carnell Tate will beat you. So let's pick your poison. And the run game. Travion Henderson as a receiver is a very dangerous weapon. So it's a really tough. And the other thing we haven't talked about yet, I'm sure you're going to ask me, is the defense, which
Mhm.
is probably the best defense in the country. Has no real discernible weaknesses. The only thing I'd say is that when Denzel Burke had the horrible game against Oregon, otherwise been solid, and Davis Igbinosun tends to be too handsy and get some pass interference calls. So it's like 3rd and 15. If I'm an offensive coordinator, I say chuck it up to the guy who's Igbinosun is covering. I hope you get a call. But he's good. He's a good cornerback. He's
Mhm.
doesn't allow separation much. Very aggressive. But if you're trying to find tiny little issues, maybe that's it. But they have Caleb Downs, the Alabama transfer, who's just like an eraser back there. It's like, okay, you see a play starting to develop, and he just reacts so quickly and just shuts it down.
Yeah, kind of before diving into the defense, I do want to ask you about those running backs because it almost feels like they're forgotten with the way the passing game has looked in this college football playoff and all of the deep, explosive plays through the air that the Buckeyes have had. It almost feels like people are forgetting that Travion Henderson and Quinshon Judkins are two of the best in the country. Is that still kind of the identity of the Ohio State offense? Would they still like to be a run-first type of team?
I think this now is a team that is a pass sets up the run offense as opposed to the traditional run sets up the pass. I think they have to loosen up defenses and make them just devote so much to trying to prevent big plays in the passing game that does open it up for the run game. Because the offensive line is still an issue. It has not gone away entirely, and they've played well so far, but these are backups in a lot of cases. And so can they sustain it? Texas is a very good defensive front. Texas is a very good defense. And so, yeah, I could see Ohio State's offense struggling if they can't block. That's, football 101.
Sure. Yeah. And I'm curious, Bill, Ohio State's lost a couple of games this year. There was that game against Nebraska that was a lot closer than
Right.
anybody expected. The Penn State game, obviously Penn State's good. They're still alive, but that game was close. Has there been any discernible trends in those games that have allowed their opponents to either beat Ohio State or at least keep things close?
Yeah, turnovers by Ohio State, mistakes by Ohio State. When Ohio State doesn't shoot itself in the foot, they're really tough to stop. There's just so many weapons. And Chip Kelly's a very good play caller. Ryan Day still has input on that. So, and the other thing is that offense and defense work hand in hand. So the defense is getting a lot of 3-and-outs, and that puts a lot of pressure on opposing defenses, and Ohio State can wear them out. And look, it's really tough to cover those guys. It's really tough to cover those guys.
Yeah, outside of maybe praying, are there any keys to Texas, things that the Longhorns can do to make this a four-quarter game tomorrow night?
Yeah, look, I certainly think Texas has a chance. Ohio State's played great in 2 games. They didn't play great for the most part in the regular season. So if they revert to that, Ohio State's quite beatable. And Texas has a lot of talent. Quinn Ewers can sling it. They've got playmakers. If the run game, it's not like the run game has sucked all year. It's just been very inconsistent. If it's a good day for the Texas run game, then I think this is a fourth quarter game for sure. Now, Ohio State's run defense is very, very good. The Ty Hamilton and Tyleik Williams in the middle, and Jack Sawyer, JT Tuimoloau are very good run defenders as well as pass rushers. Cody Simons turned into a star at linebacker. Sonny Styles, very talented guy. So, and again, Caleb Downs can be that guy that a 6-yard gain doesn't become a 15 or 20 or 50-yard run. He's that good. So, the defense is really good. But look, Texas, you're not talking about some schlub team here. Texas is Texas. And so I don't think anyone with Ohio State is thinking this is going to be a walkover. If they play the way they did against Oregon, it will be. But it's hard to play that well 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, Bill, one more for you here before we let you go. I am certain you are tired of talking about this, so I feel like I owe you an apology before I ask the question. But the future of Ryan Day, has he done enough to where there's no need for a conversation? Or if Texas pulls off the upset, are we going to see Buckeye fans freaking out again saying we need a new coach?
Look, there's a lunatic fringe in every fan base, right? So the lunatic fringe will never be satisfied, even if they win the national championship. But I think, first of all, I don't think that was ever really an issue. I don't think that unless they laid an egg against Tennessee, that they would have seriously considered it. Would Ryan Day leave? I think that's a more relevant question. If he just kind of says, I'm tired of the fishbowl, whatever, that's different. But no, I don't think Ohio State was ever going to fire Ryan Day, barring a catastrophe against Tennessee.
There you go. All right, Bill. Really appreciate the time. Enjoy your time in North Texas. Enjoy the game tomorrow, and hopefully we get the chance to talk again soon.
I think I'm going to go take a dip in the pool.
Of course you are. Enjoy that, man. I'm staying inside.